Hello again, it's Gilgamesh from www.overclockerstech.com. We are on the last Foxconn Black Ops X48 board. Did you notice that the temperature went down to -50 and then the sensor wouldn't take any more and then it just fell over? We managed to overclock the board to multiply of 8.5 times and 495 bus speed, and we seem to hit an FSB wall, which is around about 4.2 gigs for a Q in 9550. We weren't impressed, and we felt that was either an FSB, more like an FSB wall rather than an FSB hole in the CPU, and we weren't impressed, so we decided to change the motherboard and change CPU. As you can see, if we look at the BIOS on here, the sensor and the quality of the motherboard on the DFI is much better than the X48 Black Ops. Bearing in mind that the Black Ops board, if we like to point to the Black Ops board here, is their top of the range board with a rather impressive Northbridge block, while the DFI board we're using here, the DFI X48, also the same. Notice this is an X48 DK, and the DFI is an X48 DK. Have you noticed this is a much better quality board, and yet we still don't have, unlike the Black Ops, we don't have a Northbridge cooler. So once again, yet we can see on the monitor that the temperature is shown to -62 degrees, much better sensor than on the more expensive X48 Black Ops. So it goes to show you that though DFI don't produce motherboards anymore, they did actually produce quality boards, and it shows by the sensor here. -63 degrees we're on right now, and if you like to go back to the monitor again. So now we've put a new processor in here, and a Core 2 Duo 6320, and a new motherboard and DDR2 RAM. So let's have a go with this. This is Gilgamesh once again from www.overclockerstech.com. As you can see on there, we've overclocked a 1.8 GHz processor to 3.2 GHz. That's a 6320 Core 2 Duo, and as you can see, no hassle whatsoever. So it goes to show that the board quality is super important. It may have all the features, but if it's a poor board, you're going to have a poor overclock. And as you see, there's much room in this yet, and we're only using DDR2 800 MHz RAM. And as you can see, we've got it in pause at the moment. If we carry on, obviously you can't see if that overclock's fully stable yet, because we haven't even attached a hard drive to load into Windows. But it shows you what can be done with dry ice. And if we now go back into the BIOS, you see we're 3.2 GHz from 1.8 GHz. The RAM we've got, if you like to have a look at this, is the same we've got on there. If you like to focus, only 800 MHz RAM, so that means we've already overclocked the RAM by a massive amount. And if it's unclear, I do apologise. So if we go again, we try. Here's the CPU. We recommend when you're doing any overclocking is disable all your CPU features. We go to PC health status. We're down now only -17 to 19 degrees from -60 due to the amount of voltage that we're putting through the thing. We go to the BIOS settings again, and this is our DRAM timings that are set. Notice I haven't set the cast timings at all. I've let it set it itself. The only thing I've done is the TRFC FC. A lot of people overlook this, and it's most important. So when you get your RAM manufacturer, you may know about the CL timings, but you need to ask about the TRFC timings and set that accordingly, otherwise your RAM won't actually be able to overclock at its full speed. The next section, we go to the voltage. As you can see, we've put a whacking 1.66 volts through this Northbridge, which is quite surprising. It's managed to handle it. There's no special cooling, it's been helped with air, and that's it. We have the DRAM at 2.1 volts. We have the CPU at 1.475. Now for water that would be too high. You're looking at 1.43, 1.44 for water. But for at the most. But for dry ice, the sky's the limit almost. And as you can see, if we go through, we've got much more room to work with. So let's up the voltage a bit more, and let's see if we're lucky enough. Bear in mind this is on a DDR2 800, so our overclock is limited by the overclock, how efficient the RAM is, because it's on a DDR2 800. So if we go to 340, sorry, 480 rather. And as you can see, we're now at 3.36 gigahertz, and let's see if this works. There we go, we've managed to get a bit more out of this. We're now at DDR2 961 from RAM that's at DDR2 800. It's not even warm, and this is what happens when you use superior technology and a tiny bit of know-how. So now we're now at 3.36 gigahertz from a 1.86 gigahertz processor. We're now heading towards a 100% overclock. So again, we're not booted into Windows, so we can't prove that it's 100% stable. But at least we know, again, that's what it's capable with dry ice. Now let's take a risk and go 500 FSP CPU clock. We're now at 3.5 megahertz, and we're now at something like a 90% overclock. If we save this, we're now, look, DDR2 1000 megahertz and RAM that's DDR2 800 megahertz. We're using GEAL DDR2 RAM, the 6400 RAM rated at DDR2 800 with the cast timers of 44412. The voltage is at 2.0 volts, we've got it 2.2 volts, so it goes to show how superior GEAL RAM is. So, and if you want to know a bit more about GEAL RAM, I'd go to www.geal.com.tw. So now we're going to try this. Cool. As you can see, we've managed to attain 3.5 gigahertz, and we're now at a lock. We can't overclock anymore. We've overclocked the RAM from DDR2 to DDR just over 1000, and the RAM won't overclock anymore. We can't get any higher than 3.5 gigahertz. From 1.8 to 3.5, we reckon we can get well over 4 gigahertz with a faster RAM, and we've done really well. And it goes to show what happens if you've got a decent board and the right CPU, in addition to the right cooling and know-how to overclock. You can visit my website on overclockerstech.com and or visit my sponsors. If for water cooling stuff, you cannot beat specialtech.co.uk. Them in the forums are really friendly, and they'll do their utmost to help you out for the best water cooling radiators, XSPC and Thermochill, and the riser block is absolutely brilliant. And for hardware, we have the Dymastech bench table, as you can see here, from dymastech.it. And for the best in thermal compound, the Innovation Cooling, IC Diamond and the IC Perihelion. At the moment we're using Perihelion on here, and as you can see, if you reference the earlier video, we got down to minus 60 odd degrees and on dry ice, and at idle of course, and we're still by using that compound. Now traditionally you're limited with a normal thermal white gunk, but with IC Perihelion it helps us to overclock that a little bit further, and by giving us good low temperatures. And thanks to my sponsors, and don't forget, water cooling stuff, just go to specialtech.co.uk. Good prices, great service. This is Gilgamesh signing off. Cheers!